Sometimes in life, you find yourself on the right side of the line.
Do you think there's a little PTSD somewhere in there in the biathlon? I mean, you've got somebody wore out to their wits' end, and now you're going to hand them a rifle? Is that really a good idea?
I mean, I'd be like that one girl, Carrie Strug. I mean, she made that jump with a broken ankle. I could do that.
Live from Texas, this is the Dryline Farmer Podcast. You hear that? It's Brent and Landon, and this is the Dryline Farmer Podcast.
Yeah, Ashton, I don't know anymore. I mean, you try to do a podcast episode, and, you go on harvest, so you kind of go on a sabbatical for a little while, and then you come back, you're ready to go. You got Landon on one line. You got Casey Seymour on the other line, and your line doesn't work. You can hear them. You can hear your computer. Your mixer can hear you. But your computer can't hear you or your mixer. So, I am down to the bare necessities right now. I've got the mic, this mic you would give some open mic guy, at how many times did I just say like there? At a comedy club that's like outdoors and, has no drinks or whatever. And that's the kind of microphone I'm talking on right now. That's the kind of microphone they give those people because it's literally in the line in or the mic in port on the back of this computer. This computer hardly ever gets used. It's like somebody start ringing a bell every time I say the word like. But nonetheless, yeah, so I got this thing plugged into the back of this computer. I hardly ever use, only use for podcasts. And I bought it. It's a basic Dell. And the damn thing goes into a holy war. It goes on like a holy war of malware, anti-malware. It goes through like a 10-minute barrage of checking this virus and checking if there's that virus and seeing if there's adware, malware, ransomware. I thought I turned it all off, but whatever the case, it's like heating up a Minneapolis Moline in like 1974 that was built in 1937. So, anybody out there on the farm knows what I'm talking about because those son of bitches, the only difference is when you get those damn things going, they run. When you get this thing going, after about an hour, it still sucks for pretty much the rest of the time you're using it. So I just finally got desperate and had to unplug everything and put this microphone back in the port or the line in or whatever you want to call it. I've got this big-ass fancy mixer sitting here, and it's doing absolutely nothing. The only thing I can do is hear through my headphones. That's going through the mixer because the mixer can hear me, but the computer can't hear the mixer. So whatever the case, here we are. It's the Dryline Farmer Podcast. We've been gone for, a month. They're probably going to fire us for however long we've gone, but once I get this damn thing going again, I'm going to have everything back to normal. It's like my computer got COVID, and it wasn't even, it was vaccinated. Like I sprayed Ivomec all over the screen, all over the computer, all over the CPU, even the keyboard. That's why everything has a K in it. Every word I type has a K in it because Ivomec was sprayed all over the keyboard. But whatever the case, I'm desperate. I'm here. I didn't have time for a short bus episode, so I was just going to rant a little bit. Let's see. We went to the state fair. That's a dream come true. All you need is a phone and a little penicillin and some open arteries to kind of start out with. Because if you go in there half clogged, you're not going to make it through the first corn dog station. Because the corn dogs, everything's Texas-sized there. Okay, if you can hear me. But, so it's great. Everything's deep-fried. That doesn't mean it tastes good. They have deep-fried Oreos. They have deep-fried bananas. They have deep-fried, I think I saw small children walking around with crust all over, over his ears. And but it's not any good. I mean, maybe the deep fried ice cream. Oh man! Oh, I needed to do that. The deep fried ice cream. Okay, that's pretty good. I can get with that. But other than stuff that's supposed to have batter on it, I don't even know why I'm wearing headphones now because none of the sound's coming through it. I'm just doing it so I can hear myself talk. But please slow me down or stop me if you've heard this before. But the people, so we've talked about the Tri-State Fair in Amarillo, and that is like a junior league convention compared to the state fair. And I don't know if all state fairs are the same. See, I just had a drop out there. I talked for 10 seconds, and it didn't even hear me because it said Audacity not responding, and here it goes again. And, well, like I said, there's nothing. The OnlyFans subscriptions that's on this computer, they're not mine. They're somebody else's. But they've got to be raising some kind of hell with this computer. All I've got open right now is Audacity and Google Chrome, and it's on TweetDeck. So, I don't know, maybe that's what it is. But, of course, TweetDeck, I mean, you could throw garbage on that thing, and it would come out smelling even worse. So, you got that going for you, Twitter. But especially while I'm young, when I talk a lot, I guess it's the extra oxygen. But this computer is basically the state fair. Somebody must have deep-fried this computer at the factory because I'm really shocked because I had a Dell before this one. I've got a Lenovo for my trading and my main computer upstairs and everything. But and it's got a solid-state drive. It's got a rotary drive. It's dual. It's a hybrid. It's like a freaking Tesla up there. And it still has its trouble. I had a Dell Inspiron 800 or whatever it was. I had splitters. I added a sound card. That son of a bitch ran like a top. And then when it stopped running like a top, something crashed. I sent it to freaking Austin. They overnighted it back to me, fixing it, just like it was brand new. So that's why I went ahead and got another Dell just for the size. And I've got a Dell laptop that Landon used to use, but no, he's got to move to Amarillo and go remote and do Zoom and everything. So I'm just kidding, Landon. I kind of tolerate you from time to time, but I'm kind of all over the map here. Guys, we had a great harvest. I mean, the corn was a little disappointing. We had some good fields, great fields, but some of the ones, I guess it's never good enough. It's like golf. You're never going to shoot 18. And even if you did, here I go again. It's just never going to be good enough. So the Milo is what kicked ass. That made some pretty good money. And now we got to do like 4 or 5 days of cotton, maybe at the most. And we just had our first freeze yesterday. But no, it's so obviously, needless to say, we didn't have time to do podcast. And then when we get back to doing the podcast, yeah, the thing doesn't work. So I got to go down to the basics. So I'm one step away from talking into that little hole in the front of the system cabinet of my computer. That's how far that this podcast show has gone down. So I'm just looking through my notes here. So we were going to talk, and I'm going to try to, maybe I'll try to save this for next week. There was a story, okay? A woman was breastfeeding her kids that are 4 and 5 years old. So we're going to get into that next week because I don't want to run solo on that one because I know Landon and Casey, they kind of have their own, they're not fat guys, but they are bigger. Well, actually, I'm bigger than they are. So maybe I should just talk about myself. I could probably feed a couple of twins if I really had to. But, so yeah, it's a woman breastfeed. Those kids aren't going to have issues when they're teenagers. And who's to say those kids are going to stop wanting to do that when they're teenagers? If it had knocked off by 4 or 5, it's not going to happen by the time they get their driver's license. They're not going to need a Koozie. I'm going to tell you that much. They ain't going to need no Koozie because it's staying warm. It's got an onboard heater. So we're going to try to get into that next week if and when this thing works so let me give you a little behind-the-scenes deal. I got this mixer. There's a deal called a mix-minus setup. So what it is so we do Zoom, and so I hear the guy, whoever I'm talking to, through the computer. It's got to go through the mixer and back into the computer to be recorded. But if I don't do it correctly, the people on the other end will hear themselves echo. So you got to do it in a certain way that they don't hear you, they don't hear themselves, but you hear them, the computer hears them, and it all gets recorded. Well, none of that's happening right now. I don't know what the hell happened. Some Russian must have come down here and, Ned Isaacov from Seinfeld must have come down here and switched some cables around because, let's face it, I didn't do anything wrong. Ricardo didn't do anything wrong. He doesn't even work here anymore. So, yeah. it's just one of those things. It kind of puts you out of the mood to do some stuff. But I just wanted to get out here and let you know we are still here. We're gonna get back on the road here, and we're gonna get this thing slamming and jamming again. I've got some good topics we're gonna discuss. We got some good stories that we've run across, and just want to let everybody know we're still here. Ashton, we'll have you do some new voice drops if and when this thing gets working. And so yeah, y'all keep safe out there, and I promise you, we'll be out here next week. Until then, what side of the line are you on?
The Dryline Farmer Podcast, a member of the Global Ag Network. There's podcasts, and then there's this, the Dryline Farmer Podcast.